How the Romans Learned. A journey through the history and culture of Roman education. The history of education, a tale as old as civilization itself, unfolds in myriad ways across different cultures. As we delve into the annals of history, we find ourselves transported back to ancient Rome, a civilization renowned for its might and grandeur. In this vibrant milieu, the Roman education system formed a unique edifice, designed with the primary goal to produce competent citizens, orators, soldiers, and future leaders. Before we proceed further, don't forget to subscribe to the Roman Chronicles. Let's get back to the video. Education in Rome was more than a mere transmission of knowledge. It was a path to embody the virtues and values that underscored Roman society. While the patrician class received a comprehensive education aimed at leadership, the plebeians often learned trades and practical skills. Slaves, too, had the opportunity to be educated, although the extent and purpose varied greatly. Over the centuries, as Rome metamorphosed from a small city-state to an expansive empire, so did its education system. It evolved, adapted, and grew, mirroring the changing needs and aspirations of Roman society. In this video, we shall uncover the array of subjects taught in Roman schools, each designed to arm the Roman citizen with the tools necessary for their societal roles. Join us as we venture into the classroom of yore, understanding how these subjects shaped the very fabric of Roman life and continued to influence modern pedagogy. The family school, the first and most important teacher in ancient Rome. In the early stages of the Roman Republic, the family home served as the first school, the domestic hearth providing the initial platform for instruction. Central to this informal yet profoundly important education system was the father, or the paterfamilias. This figure, an embodiment of authority and wisdom, was responsible for guiding the young minds towards becoming responsible, virtuous Roman citizens. The education provided by the paterfamilias hinged on the cultivation of important skills and the inculcation of core Roman values. For boys, the teaching was aimed at shaping them into strong, effective men who could participate actively in public life. They were taught to read and write, along with the rudiments of arithmetic. More importantly, they were imbued with the virtues of courage, endurance, respect for law, and a sense of duty to their city and fellow citizens. Girls, on the other hand, were educated primarily to manage the household, an esteemed role in Roman society. They were taught spinning, weaving, and sewing, essential skills for managing the household and for the economic well-being of the family. However, it would be wrong to assume they were excluded from intellectual pursuits. Many girls also learned to read and write, often at home under the guidance of their mothers or literate slave. Significantly, the gender and social class of the child played a role in the nature of the education provided. The sons and daughters of patricians, for instance, received a more rounded and academic education compared to those of plebeians and slaves. The materials and methods used for this home education were simple but effective. The wax tablet and stylus in particular was a standard item used by children to practice writing. They could write with a stylus on the wax-coated tablet and then simply smooth out the wax to erase and begin again, making it a practical and reusable resource. Oral recitation was another popular method. It not only helped children memorize texts and lessons, but it also equipped them with skills needed to become persuasive public speakers, a coveted talent in Roman society. Thus, the foundations of Roman education were firmly laid within the family sphere, the home acting as a microcosm of the larger society. The guidance of the paterfamilias, the ethos of Roman virtues, and the strategic use of rudimentary educational materials set the stage for more advanced learning that lay ahead in the life of a Roman child. From home to classroom, the rise and spread of formal education in the Roman world. As the Roman Republic grew and eventually gave birth to the Roman Empire, an educational evolution followed. The emergence of formal schools and teachers became more pronounced, indicating a transition from the home-based education of the early Republic. Formal schools began to be established in various locations. They were often situated in public places like the Forum, a basilica, or even in the open air under the portico of the building. Interestingly, there was no standard design or architecture for a Roman school, signifying the adaptability of this bourgeoising education system. In terms of attendees, schools weren't exclusively for the patrician class. Plebeian children and, in some instances, even the children of slaves had the opportunity to attend. This said, the depth and breadth of education provided did often correlate with the social status of the student and the resources of their family. The cost of education varied, depending on the reputation of the teacher and the complexity of the subjects taught. A rudimentary education from a less famous teacher might cost a relatively small amount, while education from esteemed teachers like Quintilian or a school associated with the likes of Cicero or Pliny the Younger would come at a premium. The curriculum in these schools was a significant expansion from the basic reading, writing, and arithmetic taught in the home. It introduced students to the subjects that would define their intellectual growth and societal roles. The typical Roman education was divided into 3 stages: the ludus, where basic reading, writing, and arithmetic were taught; the grammaticus, which focused on grammar, literature, history, and mythology; and the rhetor, dedicated to the study and practice of rhetoric, the art of persuasive speaking and writing, a vital skill for those who had become politicians, lawyers, and public officials. The methods of teaching evolved too. The influence and importance of Greek language and literature in Roman education. As the Roman Empire expanded and assimilated various cultures within its embrace, none perhaps had a greater influence on its education system than that of Greece. Greek culture and language became integral to Roman education, permeating curricula and shaping intellectual pursuits. Learning Greek was often considered essential for the Roman elite. Many Romans learned it as a second language, either within their homes or at formal schools. The knowledge of Greek wasn't merely a linguistic accomplishment. It was seen as a key to unlocking vast treasures of literature, philosophy, science, and law, which were predominantly recorded in this language. The literary contributions of Greeks were immense, with epic poets, philosophers, mathematicians, and physicians creating works of timeless value. Figures such as Homer, Plato, Aristotle, Euclid, and Hippocrates were central to Roman education. Homer's Iliad and Odyssey were staples, introducing students to epic poetry and moral lessons. The philosophical musings of Plato and Aristotle instigated profound debates, while Euclid's geometrical treatises shaped the understanding of space and shapes. Hippocrates' medical texts served as cornerstones for the study of medicine. Moreover, the incorporation of Greek works was not confined to mere study. Roman writers undertook the enormous task of translating and adapting these Greek texts into Latin, making them accessible to a wider audience within the empire. A noteworthy contributor in this regard was Cicero, whose translations brought Greek philosophy to the Roman audience. His works also enriched the Latin language, introducing new words and concepts to encapsulate Greek philosophical ideas. Virgil's Aeneid, while a creative epic in its own right, was also a conscious attempt to create a Roman equivalent of Homer's epics. Greek culture wasn't merely an additive to Roman education. It was a transformative force. It enriched the Roman intellectual milieu. The legacy of this Greek influence persists even today, echoing through the corridors of modern educational institutions. The legacy of Roman education. The legacy of Roman education has been profoundly enduring, reverberating through the ages to shape the intellectual landscape of Western civilization. The Roman system of education molded not only the minds of countless generations of Romans, but also greatly influenced their political, social, and cultural life. The educated elites of Rome played a significant role in various fields, demonstrating the versatility and effectiveness of Roman education. The contributions to law and administration were paramount, with Rome's legal system serving as a blueprint for many modern legal systems. The principles of Roman law, taught to and implemented by educated elites, formed the bedrock of justice in the empire and beyond. The feats of Roman engineering, exemplified by aqueducts, roads, and monumental buildings, were testament to the practical and technical education imparted. In the realm of art and literature, educated Romans left indelible marks. The works of Virgil, Ovid, Cicero, and Seneca, steeped in their education, continue to inspire readers and writers today. Roman education also had a significant impact on religious thought and philosophy, shaping the discourse and evolution of these fields. Roman education was much more than a system. It was a catalyst for intellectual, moral, social, and political growth. Its impact is seen not only in the achievements of Roman society, but also in its pervasive influence on the subsequent evolution of education and culture in Western civilization. It remains a testament to the power of education to shape societies, inspire innovation, and propagate cultural and intellectual enrichment. How does the Roman approach to education, with its emphasis on civic virtues and practical skills, compare to our modern educational systems? Are there elements from the Roman model that we could reintegrate to foster a more well-rounded education for our own citizens? Let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one.